Yeah.
And I mean, like, you can't overlook the fact that a lot of people can't afford to actually flourish within that social context. I mean, that alone is problematic.
Exactly. So some of these things, like, we don't address them because of where we come from, and to transform a person who's already used to living in that elite culture or as middle class and stuff, it's like really hard. That's why
really hard,
it's like it's almost impossible to say to a person who's got everything they've got or need to say, yo, let's talk about transformation. He's just going to be like, yo, listen, my fees is paid up, I've got enough food in my room.
But you have to start somewhere, though.
Exactly. There's a need to do that. But then how and where?
I think that's
how do you
where
start changing
that's what I'm saying.
minds?
That's what we were talking earlier. Like, it's an experiment in student politics.
They perpetuate it more than they don't care. Yeah.
Indeed. So for example, if we take it back to roads, we have events and stuff, right? People do attend, but what happens to those that are not privileged enough to actually pay for these tickets that we all take for granted? So sometimes people are also left out because of those small issues, but because most of us are from the middle class and we don't really care about these other issues, we don't actually address them or look at them. Because how many people are at the university that can't afford to be there? Most of us don't even think about that. So that's where the inequality comes from.
Even
that's why we need to realize.
Even on a social level, I mean,
campus.
Yeah.
But
what I have something to say?
Yes. Don't forget, the issue of access. Because here, roads, you've got everything that you possibly want. And that's why we find that Rhodes University is very exclusive to some people. A person coming from, let's say, rural Eastern Cape, they don't have internet and things like that. They don't think about stuff like that. They think for the people who actually have stuff, the haves, so to speak. And that's where I think the role of the student activist must come. It must speak to that sensitivity of the people who don't have, the marginalized people, the people without a voice, really. I mean, if I can make an example of myself, I don't, particularly come from a home that's really, where everything is provided for. I don't have to worry about MIP or, tuition and stuff like that. I have to worry about stuff like that. And, Rhodes doesn't really think about, those students.
It doesn't even. It doesn't
take 1,600 rands. It has to be paid by that day. The cutoff date, and they don't really consider that.
I want to talk about unemployed. So do you not think, in terms of tertiary education, there is a big problem? There's a huge gap that is not being.
No, definitely there's.
But also, when one analyzes tertiary education, one also needs to think about the massive mess that is our secondary primary education. Our basic education is in a state of crisis. And we, as you say, that you have a lot of matriculants that are trying to get spaces in universities because it's either that or you go and find a job, and even that, it's going to be very hard because you don't have the skills, you just got out of school. What we need to fix is what are our schools doing to equip people to not think about the university as something that will make me an employee. How do you create your own job as an 18-year-old, that just got out of school? Because there are things that you possibly could do. Is our education system opening those channels in your mind where you can, employ yourself?
Besides the practical trade, how could a person create a job in the modern context? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very difficult.
But if you're an artist,
but an artist,
no, but I'm just saying that
commoditize that.
I know, but what I'm saying is that there are things, and things are education. My problem with education or our education system, the way it's sort of set up, is that you're told this is the box, and all you can do is within this box.
Definitely.
So we need an education system that's going to be telling people that perhaps you can go out, and employ yourself.
No, definitely.